So Sue Gray has now delivered her report into 16 parties in Downing Street and Whitehall, 12 of which are under investigation by the police, 3 of which we didn't even know existed until the report came out, and one of which was an alleged ABBA party in the flat above Downing Street that Boris Johnson shares with his wife Carrie. He had denied in the House of Commons that there was a party in that flat.
Prime Minister tell the House whether there was a party in Downing Street on the 13th of November.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no, but I'm sure that whatever happened, the guidance was followed and the rules were followed at all times.
However, Sue Gray's report is only 9 pages long, and that is quite controversial because she was asked to cut most of the information out by the Met Police, which announced an investigation into 12 of the 16 gatherings last Tuesday. Now, despite the fact that there are a lot of information missing, it's still a pretty damning report. It says at least some of the gatherings were a serious failure to observe not just the high standards expected of those working at the heart of government, but also the standards expected of the entire British population at the time.
Mr. Speaker, I get it and I will fix it.
Tory MPs, including Theresa May, they lashed out.
So either my right honourable friend had not read the rules, or didn't understand what they meant, and others around him, or they didn't think the rules applied to number 10. Which was it?
It seems a lot of people attended events in May 2020. The one I recall attending was my grandmother's funeral. She was a wonderful woman. As well as a love for her family, she served her community as a councillor, and she served Dartford Conservative Association loyally for many years. I drove for 3 hours from Staffordshire to Kent. Only 10 people at the funeral. Many people who loved her had to watch online. I didn't hug my siblings, I didn't hug my parents. I gave a eulogy, and then afterwards I didn't even go to her house for a cup of tea. I drove back 3 hours from Kent to Staffordshire. Does the Prime Minister think I'm a fool?
When he kindly invited me to see him 10 days ago, I told him that I thought he should think very carefully about what was now in the best interests of our country and of the Conservative Party. And I have to tell him he no longer enjoys my support.
So where does it go from here? It takes 54 Tory MPs to put in the letters of no confidence that it takes to topple Boris Johnson. And last night, the Prime Minister pleaded his case with MPs, saying, I nearly died of this. This is, something I had to take seriously. He's already had some grandees wash their hands of him, and a few more in the last 24 hours. Whether that tips over the 54, no one really knows except Graham Brady, the chairman of the 1922 committee, which controls the letters. And people can withdraw their letters at any time. So it's not a fait accompli, it's not definite, but it could happen. If it does happen, we will have a no confidence vote very, very quickly, possibly within 24 hours. When Theresa May had it in 2018, the no confidence vote was announced at sort of 8 in the morning, and it happened at about 6 o'clock that night. Now that's the first problem for the topplers, is that Boris Johnson needs 54 letters to trigger a confidence vote, but he would win if he gets at least half of his MPs backing, which means that nearly 180 would need to vote against him. So the chances of him staying on are pretty strong, and if he wins the vote, he would be there for another 12 months without having another no confidence vote. So the best hope for his critics, if he wins that vote, would be for him to limp on, be damaged and more damaged, lose the local elections badly, and then eventually call defeat and go. But if there's one thing Boris Johnson has shown, is that he's not a man who's always readily willing to admit defeat. So where it goes from here, I'd be a fool if I was to guess.